All right, we got week 4 in the books. Basically, there's a few games on tomorrow. Tomorrow meaning Saturday. The big Mater Dei Lincoln game. Looking forward to that one. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna show a lot, and it's kind of gonna go more into depth on expanding on what I'm gonna say in regards to the video and in regards to how the county of San Diego football is looking these days. So really interesting games. I'm talking about the main teams, obviously, and I'll throw in some teams I've been seeing because I try to follow everyone in the county. Obviously, if I my apologies to Division 5 or teams in that bracket. I wish I can give a little bit more press, but it's a little bit harder to find highlights and be able to follow because there's just not a lot of light being shed on those teams. But good luck to them and make sure that they're still doing what they need to do, try to make noise in their league and to try to make some things happen. But I'm really referring to the main teams in the county. Week 4 is basically in the books, like I said. See a lot of good things and I see a lot of interesting things. And right now, at this moment, I look back at my predictions and I see the teams that I thought that was going to win and the teams that I thought that were going to be contenders when it comes to the championship and deep playoff runs. And I look at the teams that were going to be in contention at the end of the season, postseason, deep playoff runs. And my predictions really are not really aligning with what I thought initially. My mind have changed. These teams have been performing in ways in which they're really flipping my takes, and they're flipping some of the initial thoughts I had. And sometimes it's a good thing because you know me, if I choose to go against you, you better prove me wrong, really. So it's really interesting what's going on with these teams. Cathedral Catholic, man, I said I wasn't going to keep talking about them, but I'm going to continue. Man, they avoided a close one. They avoided a close one today playing Helix. I thought Helix probably should have won. You got home field advantage. I think Cathedral was very depleted, losing 2 just games where they just got smashed by these teams out in LA County, Southern Section. But, man, they escaped a close one against the Highlanders. That game was a big indicator in my eyes on how the bar was set when it comes to everyone else below Cathedral Catholic. Because I believe they're still ranked number 1 in the county, but this game really solidified how I feel about everyone else in regards to how good the talent and the level of skill and ability is out here in the county these days. And I think it's low. I think that, and it's not me being overcritical or it's not me just being a hater. I truly think that this is a pretty down year for San Diego football. And what's adding more insult to injury is that the last year, in which we had a great showing of football and a great amount of guys playing at the next level. Got the Cathedral Catholics, Lucky Sutton, and their quarterback that ended up going to Stanford. Got the Mater Dei magical undefeated season. You got all these other different teams that are putting out a bunch of D1 guys. I know that it was a different feel last year in terms of the success of a lot of these teams. Patrick Henry having their great season. So it's just a lot of... And Lincoln last year had a really good team. And this year they're probably... even a little bit better. I'll get to them in a little bit, but just by comparison on last year, I think that's what skewed a lot of people's predictions, including mine, in that we're kind of carrying what had happened last year into the 2021 season, into the 2022, in how we ranked teams and how we predicted the season would end up. And obviously that throws everything off because these are all brand new teams. These are all different results from what we're seeing so far. I know it's only week 4. We got about 6 more weeks of the regular season, 6 more games. So a lot is to be said, but Cathedral barely escaping Helix is a pretty big indicator that everything is pretty level now. That the playing field is level amongst the big powers: Madison, Lincoln, Saints, Cathedral, Steel Canyon, Granite Hills. Actually, Granite Hills is Division 2 now, but the bigger D1 teams, and then obviously the North County teams, Mater Dei, and is included now in the Division 1 conversation. So all these teams are even. Everyone is, in my opinion, when I'm looking at the last 4 or 5 games of the year, I feel like everyone's going to beat each other. I feel like Cathedral is going to lose to Carlsbad. I'm thinking they're going to lose to Lincoln and Carlsbad this year. I think a Lincoln is going to lose to a Madison, right? And I think Madison is going to be able to beat a Saints, obviously, but then they might turn around and lose to Mater Dei. Something like that. I think that's what's going to look like, what's going to happen at the end of this year, towards the latter part of the year, which in my opinion is actually good. It's good competition. It's good for parity. Like, there's not really a runaway winner like how it was last year with the Cathedral, just manhandling everybody. But with that being said, that means that everyone is kind of down this year. So again, it's really not me just beating up and being a hater and being overcritical and unfair. It's just a reality that these teams aren't as good as what we thought going into this year because of how good they did last year. And it's just, you see these other teams that a lot of their San Diego teams schedule and their out-of-conference schedule just spanking all of us here. And it just goes back to my initial video. Yeah, go check that out, man. Reasons why San Diego's the worst cities in all of America for football. But hey, that's just my opinion. But again, you just look at the overall record and you look at the quality of teams here from top to bottom, and it's just low. This is like a good indicator of how it is. I think this is like realistic. I think the years where we had like a Chris Olave come out of Mission Hills and Kyle Phillips coming out of San Marcos and a few other guys making it, that's great and props to them. But it's just really, really high at the top, and then everything else is just super far away in terms of the discrepancy and how good the talent and ability is here. But you can kind of say that for everybody. But I was just having a conversation earlier, like if you took the top teams away from San Diego and you just had Eastlake, Granite, Steel, and I'm not even talking about Valhalla, Sweetwater, El Cap, West Hills, like the dog water teams. I'm just talking about the main teams. That gives you a real indicator of like the talent and ability that a region has. And I wouldn't bet on a lot of our teams here. That's just the truth. Even against some random teams out in the middle of Ohio, they'll probably end up beating us. And again, that was my whole argument in that first video I made that everyone seems to hate. But really, really looking forward to a lot of these games. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of parity. It's going to be a lot of upsets. It's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be beating up on each other. There's not really going to be any 9-0 and 10-0 teams. And to be honest, that's a really good thing. Looking to other teams so far, kind of going on to my predictions. Grossmont hasn't won a game, and it's not looking like they're going to win any games this year. Poway is looking pretty good. They got some good wins under their belt so far. They got a pretty strong team, pretty strong running game. I see Granite Hills had a big win against Eastlake tonight over in Chula Vista, and they beat Oceanside, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago. They're on a hot streak. They're looking pretty good. Ramona looks like a strong team. I wasn't able to see their result when they played Madison tonight, but I think that they're going to make some noise, and I think they're Division 3 still, so they're looking really good. Scripps Ranch, I think they have not won a game yet. I know Jax Leatherwood, their main guy for the team, got injured, unfortunately. Hopefully he's healthy because he's already committed to go on to play in college, but you don't want to see him get affected on a really cruddy team. So Scripps Ranch, man, they have to play Cathedral and everyone this year too. So I'm gonna look at all that for humor, honestly, because they're not ready for this. And again, a premature type of a prediction, having them play all these good teams just because they had a magical year last year. It just doesn't make sense how that works. I see a few other the smaller schools like the Rancho Buena Vista is playing really well. I think they're undefeated so far. I see Escondido High School getting some good wins under their belt. So just a lot of good teams coming up this year that didn't perform so well last year. And hey, the better you can get, that's all I'm here for, and that's what the team's goal should be, because you don't ever want to keep repeating and being bad every year like a Santana and like a El Capitan High School. They're bad every year and they're okay with it. They're not doing anything really to make major changes, and that's just, everyone's expectations are different, and I'm not the head coach or the AD for each school, so not everyone's ideas or their goals or agendas are going to align with mine, and I understand that. But overall, I'm enjoying the season so far. Hope everyone else is too. Still got a lot of football to play, still a lot to see. We're not even in league yet. We're still in the outer conference play, and I'm really excited for everything. So I know this video was kind of random. This was a little bit of a ramble, kind of looking at everything of how the football is so far. But it's going to be a lot of parity. It's going to be a lot of teams beating up on each other. I really don't have a prediction yet. I mean, it's changed. I don't think Cathedral's going to win it all this year. I think some major things have to happen for them to take it all this year, because they're pretty predictable. They don't really have any huge playmakers, and I think a couple of these teams like a Lincoln or Madison and maybe Carlsbad can just beat them down the field making plays. Like Cathedral has no playmakers. They have a couple guys on defense that really hold the helm down, but they don't have anything like that on offense. Man, it's tough. I would say I'm not a huge fan of Lincoln and their program, but I would say I respect the players and the coaches on what they're able to do, but in terms of everything else, in terms of the culture, in terms of the morals and the principles, I think they're a little bit loose and could be tighter, but it doesn't really matter with the talent that they're able to get. I got Lincoln winning it all this year. I think they're going to beat Mater Dei tomorrow for that 7 o'clock game on Saturday. I think that they have the best talent. They're able to get away with a lot because they have all playmakers on the perimeter and really good players on defense. Unless I really need to see Lincoln play Carlsbad, I think that's really the matchup. One of those two teams are probably going to be the winner. And if I were to pick head-to-head Lincoln or Carlsbad, I'd choose Lincoln to edge it out slightly. But again, we don't really know how things will go down at the wire, when it comes down to the postseason in terms of coaching and in terms of home field advantage and who stays healthy. So everything's up for grab. It's good. I like competition. Sometimes it's boring and when the team's predictable, when they're going to win it all, but this is good stuff, and I'm really excited for it, man, and everyone else should be too, man. We'll see.